Welcome back, guys, to Adventures with the Romance Author, me. And today we're going to try to make a sculpture using Epixy Scultp Clay. I've never used this before, so we're going to give it a shot together. Well, let's get to it. Thanks for being here, guys, and today we're going to be making a sculpture, haven't decided what yet, using Epixy Scultp Clay, which does not need to be put into the oven to harden. It's supposed to do that all on its own, and you mix equal parts of A and B together, and remember, wear gloves, be safe. And I have some crafting wire to make an armature of what we decide to make. So, let's think. What should we make? Well, an animal of some sort would be nice. Maybe a bird. Let's see. So, decided we are going to make a whimsical woodland sprite. You know, trips around the woods, collecting mushrooms and this and that, and you know what I mean. Anyway, we're going to bring out the aluminum foil to help beef up the body. We're going to use the crafting wire to mold a general shape, put the aluminum over it, and then mix the epoxy sculpt to form the outer layer of the body. At least that's what the plan is. So, let's start with crafting an armature. First time for everything. We have created a basic armature. Basically, the head will go here, body, arms, legs. I was going to make her sitting. So we'll see how that turns out. Now it's time for the aluminum foil. That's the fun part. So we're going to start making, I guess, a pretty big round midsection. Right? It's going to be a whimsical creature. So make it have some girth to her. And then I'm going to do the same with the arms and the legs. They're a little wobbly now, but we'll see. And then carrying on. Okay, I'll be back. Here is the aluminum foil rough version. Don't be afraid. This is just rough. I'm going to wrap some tape around and get them all into at least a general position before we go on to the epoxy. Okay, now that our woodland creature looks like a mummy, this is definitely a trust the process kind of project. Again, repeating, first time I'm doing this, so we're giving this a shot together. That's typically what we do. Try new things and see what we get. So, let's break out the Epoxy Sculpt. Put on the gloves. Okay, guys. After a few modifications, like taking the feet off because I thought that looked not so good, I'm going to make it like a dress, and then I made her head bigger because I'm going to make her into one of those cute little, animated characters with a hat and a dress, and she's going to be like the, I don't know, fairy witch of the forest kind of thing. So anyway, that's done, horrifying as it may be. Now it's time to mix A and B, equal parts, and start putting it on our model. Wear gloves, because I'm pretty sure this stuff is not good for your skin. So, use protection. You know what I mean. So, while I mix up a batch of this, equal parts of A and B, I will speed this along for you. So, there we go. Ready? Go. Okay, don't be afraid, but this is the creature so far from the forest. Don't worry, there's going to be a hat. I'm making a hat. And, here we go. Yay! Don't worry. Trust the process. Okay, right. I'm worried. We're going to put jewels and flowers. She's going to have a hat and a cape and then a bunch of stuff around her, and she's going to be painted and everything. So this is not the final product, but I do have to wait for it to dry. So drying time now. So I think I created the Pillsbury Doughboy of forest creatures. But we're sticking with it. We are going to paint her. She already has a little hat. See? Looks like water drips. Oops. One goes on. Oh, wait, it's going that way. Like this. So, she already has a water drippy hat with flowers and stuff. You know, I can paint, I can write, I can do all kinds of things, but maybe crafting a statue is not among them. But I'm heck bent on finishing her. By the way, this about the Epixy Scultp Clay, it is much more difficult to work with than I thought it would be, but I think that might be my fault because I used too much at one time. Maybe smaller portions mixing together. I shouldn't have taken out so much so quickly. Anyway, but look at this. It's hardened. It's a rock. Like, seriously. It did a perfect job of what it was supposed to do. It's absolutely solid. It's hard to believe that there's like just foam and some wire and aluminum foil under here, because it feels solid for sure. So I can't blame the Epoxy Sculpt for this one because I can't sculpt apparently. But hey, we can't do everything. I refuse not to share this with you because nobody can be perfect at everything. So we're going to make her beautiful. We're going to paint her and we're going to enjoy her for what she is. Okay. So first off, we're going to go blue. A turquoise with white, so light. And then we're going to, oops, come back here. Sponge on, dab on some gold, give her a little ethereal look. And then we're going to add all her clothes and stuff and paraphernalia and all that. So, here we go. Should I put it on another fast forward so that you can watch me paint? Or, maybe. And here she is. Product of my nightmare. She's ready for her Ghostbusters premiere. Stay Puft Blue Marshmallow. I'm going to paint the eyes a different color, so that's why they're painted. And then I'm going to put a little gold sheen. We're going to continue with this. It's turning out less ethereal and more cartoonish, but hey, I can live with that. This whole video was to figure out whether Epoxy Sculpt Clay actually worked, and it does. It turned this bits and pieces into a statue. Now, let's not judge the statue. Anyway, let's let it dry. Whoa, whoa. Yeah, that'll do. Now I'm going to go in with a little shading using a grayish blue, not a grayish blue, a greenish blue, and dry brushing. So I want to dry that off as much as you can, so to get some different tones and stuff in here, and different textures. Oops, sorry, I guess you move you up. I wanted to add some color. I know the hat's going to be here, but, you know, add some shading. So it's just not all one color kind of thing. Would be nice, you know, just add a little depth to it. You know, have fun with it. Do whatever you want. It's your creation. Never know how it's going to turn out, right? So just have some fun with it and enjoy yourself. Okay, so I'm just going to go along all the different kind of piping, I guess you would want to call it, and see what I get. Just something different, and then go in with the gold. Okay, so I decided to roll with it, and I'm going to create and add some gray as well into a statue. This lighting isn't doing it well, but imagine an old gray and green weathering Statue of Liberty, but cartoony. This is going to be fun. Oh, here, can you see this way? See how it's showing all the imperfections and cracks and things? So we're going to add a little gray to that too. A little gold. We're going to do her up into a woodland statue that you might find out in the middle of nowhere and wonder, who made this? Me, but I may not admit it to it when this is all over. Ah! Okay, we're back. I think this has taken on a life of its own. This Epoxy Sculpt testing for this project has now morphed into seeing what I can do with this. You can hear how hard that is. So, it's cartoonish, but now I'm kind of leaning towards creating some sort of statue, making it look weathered, and a statue with moss and flowers and leaves and stuff, something you might find in the middle of a forest, you know, made centuries ago kind of thing. So I did the layer of green, and then I did Payne's gray. Now I'm going to do a light gray and then more of a tan, go towards more of a stone finish. And I've got some flowers I want to put on it. I've got some moss and rocks, and I'm going to paint this like green for the forest floor. But definitely think the hat's out. But yeah, this is sort of taking on a life of its own. Stick around to see what happens next. Okay, so we came in originally with the baby blue and then the Viridian green hue, and then the Payne's gray, and then the buff titanium and Mars black together to make this gray or darker. And now I'm going to go back in with buff titanium to give it a more of a stony effect. Yeah, imagine this with flowers and shrubs and moss all around it, and, you know, finding it in some temple somewhere, you know, sent from centuries ago, broken and decayed. So that's what I'm going for, and I'm having fun with it. You know, whatever it turns out to be, it turns out to be. But let me tell you, the testing of the Epixy Scultp Clay, worked. It did a wonderful job, and that was the point of this video. Now we're just having fun. So as you can see, I've come in and done the lighter sandy color, painted the bottom base green, and now we're just going to wait for it to dry. I'll give you a little spin here. We can see, trying to get old and weathered look. I think it's coming. And then we'll be adding some more features soon. Well, as soon as she dries. So I went in, added some moss, some white and green, some dried driftwood, some dried flowers. Let's spin it around a little bit. Some more flowers here on the back and more moss. And this is where we're going to leave her for today. I'm just going to let that hang out and decide where to go from here tomorrow. But so far, this is what she's looking like. Our Epoxy Sculpt Clay experiment hasn't turned out half bad. She does look like a statue. Huh. Not bad. Hopefully the weather will be nice enough for me to take it outside to show you. In daylight. So, here we are. And those are just some plastic flowers back there. But, yeah. All in all, she is coming together. Look at that. It's definitely better than I thought it was going to be. It's definitely much better than I thought it was going to be. And that's my own, like, sculpting ability that we're questioning here, not the actual epoxy sculpt. Anyway, let's see what it looks like and what we feel we still need to do tomorrow. Well, guys, here she is in all her Stone Age glory. For a project that began one way, it certainly ended in the complete opposite of what I was imagining. Oh my goodness, look at her. Ah. These lights are giving me nothing but issues, but you know, adds to the ethereal look. All the flowers and look at the back and stuff. Isn't that cool? She turned out like a statue, basically. She looks just like a statue. So, for that, we have won. We have done it. She did great. Oh. I don't know what to do with the lights, but hey, there you go. Hold on a second. I'll turn on the light so you can see her in the light. I can't take her outside because it's pouring rain for days and days. Okay, here she is with the lights turned on. Wah! And the vine coming off. There we go. So she turned out pretty good for the mess I made of her to begin with. So everything is in. All the flowers are on. She looks like stone. And I even add a little stone in there. You see it? Hold on. There it is. There. Even better. I'll figure out what to do with the lights after, but there she is. Oh, well, this has been interesting. It's been fun. It's been frustrating, but Epoxy Sculpt does work. The rest was my imagination. So anyway, guys, thank you for being here, and I hope you enjoyed this unconventional video, wherever it went to. And you like and subscribe and comment and Try your own fun, crazy, out of this world experiment. Yeah, that's it. Anyway, like and subscribe, and I hope you're all being kind to each other. Until next time, guys. Bye. Okay, so who's going to clean up this mess? Damn.